Let's debate this for a second. That is a bunch of garbage, and we all know it. I don't care if they have a damn conga line in the end zone. You could have called that from the last row with 8 beers in you. It's gotten to be too much of a love-in for me. Now I hope somebody hits somebody. Wednesday. From the studios of WFAN here in New York and simulcast across the country via Fox Sports 1, this is Mike Ton Francesa on the Fan on this Monday as we hit December 1st. We hit the holiday season here in New York. A couple days to the tree. It's probably Wednesday, I would guess. Usually Wednesday. And it's a busy time. It goes very quickly now. And the NFL season comes down the stretch. Off yesterday's games, it's starting to take shape now. You see who's surging, who's slumping. And then you have what was kind of sad. You know, most of the times endings are anything but sweet. They're usually sad. They're usually not scripted. And the fact that it came in Jacksonville yesterday is maybe, I don't want to call it poetic, but it's obviously thematic in that regard, because that's obviously where Tom started. But that was, I mean, you can list, if you're a Giant fan, if you know Giant history, you can list the games that are embarrassing in Giant history. And I'm not going to put this game with the Pasosic fumble, which really changed and really was the bottoming out of the franchise. It led to all kinds of changes, including the arrival of the guys who finally made the Giants champions again. And I don't want to compare it to that because it was not to that level of a debacle. But it was a debacle. There is no way on this earth can a football team with mediocre talent, that's what the Giants are right now, a team with problems and mediocre talent. There's no way you could ever lose a game up 21-0 to a 1-10 team. It is virtually impossible. And the Giants showed you that you had to basically stand on your head to do it, and the Giants did it that way. Starting with the play in the end zone, which was one of the dumber plays you've seen in recent years, because, listen, do the math. 7 minus 2 is 5 points. Fall on the ball. Fall on the ball. Don't try and pick the ball up. Don't try and run the ball out. Don't worry to try to save 2 points. Give up 7 to save 2. And at that point, I don't know if you could sense it. I actually, like everyone else, thought the game was over at the half. But when that play happened, the continued destruction of the offensive line with guys leaving the game, I actually felt that you could almost see the Giants in front of your eyes tighten up, while Jacksonville just basically said on the defensive line, we can go in there and just beat the heck out of them now and take the ball away. They tried to take the ball away on every play after that. The defense was almost saying, like, we're going to win this game ourselves. We're just going to hit them and take the ball away. They had their way on every play. The Giants were totally, without question, defenseless when it came to protecting anybody in the backfield. The Giants did nothing to help that situation along. I mean, you could have done a lot of things that they didn't do to help that situation along. And I thought the Giants just got, even before the play where Donnell bounced on his head and fumbled the ball, even before that play, I thought the Giants were almost waiting for bad things to happen. They had lost their aggressiveness completely until the drive that they wound up not getting in the end zone on, where they started passing on first down instead of just handing it off and running right into the line, and actually started attacking again. Got right down the field attacking, and what they do on first down, they ran the ball right back into the line. So now it's second long. And then for 2 plays, they didn't have a play. They searched the play out. They didn't have a play. They never came close to scoring on either one of those plays. When they kicked that field goal, despite the fact they were playing a terrible team, when they kicked that field goal, in my mind, I thought they were going to lose the game. And when they didn't get in the end zone there, little did I know that Jacksonville had saved in their bag of tricks something that the Giants had shown they have no way to defend, and they can't defend it. They got sucked in again on the same option that has killed them and embarrassed them how many times this year? Jacksonville went to the slant they can't cover for the one play that got them out of the shadow of their own goalpost, and then went to the option with a rookie quarterback who is not known to be a runner. And he killed them with it. Has JPP figured out yet how to play that play? I mean, has he ever figured out how to play that play? That is their undoing. Here is a team that is, let's be honest, Jacksonville is awful. They're not any good. You got a rookie quarterback. You got no offense. And the Giants, if the Giants had come out in the second half, run into the line on 3 plays and punted every time they had the ball and did it cleanly, I think they would have won the game. I think they would have won the game. But they gave them 14 points on 2 turnovers, one more ridiculous than the other. I mean, to say that Donnell didn't have a good game would be the understatement. The drop where the ball was in his hands on a critical third down play, where he caught it and then had it slapped out of his hands, and then where he bounces on his head and loses the ball, and then it's picked up and run back for a touchdown. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. This is the stuff that gets staffs fired. And let's be honest, and we've been through this, and I know we all tiptoe around it. And I tiptoe around it, I admit it too, because I like Tom and we have great respect for him. But let's be honest, the body of work in the last 30 games is deplorable. They are 11-20, and they've been embarrassed most of the time. That's an embarrassing loss yesterday. That game cannot happen. You have to go out of your way to lose that game yesterday. You have to help Jacksonville beat you. You have to virtually hand them the game. Jacksonville just said, you know what? These guys, we want it more than they do. We're going to beat them up on a defensive line. We're going to take the ball away. They tried to take the ball away, and they took it away 3 times. And the only reason they didn't score again, having taken it away, is the game ended. Otherwise, they took it away again on the last play. The offensive line, which has been a nightmare, became the final nightmare yesterday. And listen, it's a foregone conclusion. I don't care if you're watching the top quarterbacks or anybody in between. If you hit these quarterbacks clean with defensive linemen, they are going to drop the football. You can say hold on to the football, but you know what? I don't care if you're watching Rodgers, you're watching Luck. First play of the game yesterday, Luck got hit clean. The guy missed the block. The defender came in, hit him clean on the first play of the game. He fumbled the ball. Redskins took over. Except later on, he threw 5 touchdown passes, basically from 40 to 80 yards, so it didn't matter. But the point is, if you hit a quarterback clean like that with a big man, they're going to fumble the ball half the time. It's a foregone conclusion. They just can't hold on to the ball. It's all over the league, you see it. If you watch all the games, you know it. If you hit those guys like that, half the time they're going to fumble the ball. And Eli's going to fumble it more than most. But you know what? None of that. We all know how bad the offensive line was. We all know why the game was lost yesterday. We all know how the game was lost yesterday. We're all scratching our head about how Jacksonville and that staff could make better adjustments than the Giants do. And we've seen this script so many times. We've seen the Giants play a third of a game well, a half a game well, lead by 10 points and lose, lead by 14 points, and now lead by 21 points to a 1-win team and lose. I don't know. You know, you could pop that into the Elias computer if somebody already has and tell me if anybody has ever blown a 21-point lead to a team that was 1-10. I would think the answer is no. I would think a 1-10 team has never, ever, or 1-10 or worse, has never come back from 21 points down in a game to win. Because it plays against every reason you're 1-10. When you get back down 21 points that you're not going to come back. The Giants had a game that everybody basically, half of you probably got bored and left with it at 21-0. They had 90-yard drives that took an hour and a half. They basically had the ball the entire quarter to start the game. They methodically took the field down. Couldn't have done it any better than they did it in the first half. Were able to sack the quarterback all day. They just weren't able to stop him when they needed it. And the reason why was because Jacksonville knew that the only way they could protect their quarterback against the Giant pass rush at the end of the game, because they stink so much, is either to throw a quick slant or have their quarterback basically kill him with the boot on an option, which he did 5 times for 70 yards. I didn't take the time to look at it. I should have. How many yards has Bortles run for this year versus how many he ran for yesterday? He's not exactly a running quarterback. I mean, they kept that. They had that. They knew they had it. They knew they pulled it out when they needed it to get down the field and get a field goal. Any word you want to describe yesterday's game, use it. And yes, if that's the Jets, we are screaming bloody murder here and talking about same old Jets and folly and everything else. But you know what? It's not the Jets, it's the Giants. And the Giants have become as sad a state and as sad a joke as the Jets are. And that's sad to say on Tom Coughlin's watch. But this is a dumb team, a scared team, a stupid team, and a bad team. Case closed. I mean, I'm sorry, that's what they are. And you're saying it about a quarterback and a coach who have won a couple of Super Bowls, I understand that. But that's what they've become. They've become a team that looks for a way to lose, finds ways to lose. And that's what bad teams do. That's what dumb teams do. They find ways to lose games. And the Giants now are inventing ways to lose games because they had to invent a way to lose that game. At 21-0, there was no way to lose it unless you were going to basically bounce on your head and fumble the ball in the end zone. And play offensive line play on a level that has not been seen in a long time. They couldn't block anybody with the guys who were in that game yesterday. But how about giving them some help? You know, I know they couldn't block it in the second half. I know they only could do so much in the game once they got behind. But they actually, to me, when they still had the lead, after the play at 21-10, they looked scared to me. They looked like they were waiting to lose. At 21-10, I actually thought Jacksonville had a chance. You know, I was watching games at the same time, and as the Jacksonville game, the Giants were up 21-3 at one point in the third quarter, and the Jacksonville and the Colts were up 21-3. And the next thing you know, they both were 21-10. And ironically, before the Giants went to 21-17, and they didn't get the extra point, but the Redskins went to 21-17. And the difference in the two teams, I understand that the Colts were home and they had luck. But the difference in the two teams was amazing. The Colts came out on the next play, threw a touchdown pass. Game over. Back game over. Then they got a fumble, turned it in, and now the game over. They exchanged some long touchdowns after that. Didn't matter. The game was over. As soon as they got to 21-17, the Colts came out and said, here's the back of our hand. Get out of our way. You're not winning our game. The Giants, though, went into a shell and waited around to get beat and waited around for someone like Donnell to bounce on his head and fumble the ball. On a 3rd and 15 play that was go. Here's the amazing thing. He fumbled the ball on a give-up play. It was a give-up play. You could have just run it into the line and punted it. You were giving up anyway. It was 3rd and 15. You dumped it in the flat. It was a give-up play. They gave up 7 points on a give-up play. There's just no words to explain it. That's how bad it was. And what does it mean? It means they're going to have a new coach, I think. Now the idea is just do it right. He's had a great career. He deserves to go out in the right way. But let's be honest. How much of this are you going to watch? It's become a bad team. It's become a bad staff. You know, really good coaches get fired. Great coaches get fired. Tom Landry got fired. We're going to see it again. Here's the Mink Man.